Well, we have an existing daycare of 48 spaces with a wait list of 42 spaces already. And with the growth in the area, with BHP coming to our region, plus, economic opportunities within the region, with just within the town, and for our businesses and anybody that's employing people, it's a need. It's a need for our community. And it was a huge endeavor for our daycare board to take on by themselves. So that was the main reason. We had multiple meetings with the daycare board on, what their plans were. And we just felt that without our help, this project was not going to get off the ground. So
Welcome to Municipal Affairs. Changes in the air for the growing community of Lanigan, Saskatchewan. As families put down roots and the population continues to rise, the town is taking a crucial step forward for its youngest residents. A brand new daycare facility is on the horizon, promising to ease the pressures on working families and help drive the local economy forward. Now, at the heart of this development is a partnership between the Town of Lanigan and the Lanigan Daycare Cooperative. In a recent town council meeting, a resolution was passed to approve an agreement in principle to build a brand new 90-space daycare facility, a significant expansion from the current 48 spaces. Now, with the growing wait list and the existing facility running at full capacity, this development couldn't come at a better time. With the project valued at $3 million, funding includes a $594,000 one-time provincial grant, the sale of the current facility, and contributions from the daycare cooperative. Also, a $40,000 grant from BHP helped develop the business plan, and MNP provide the blueprint for success. Importantly, according to the town, there will be no property tax impact on residents or businesses as the town of Lanigan will arrange the remaining $2 million shortfall, with the daycare cooperative managing payments on that. It's a big step forward, one that promises to support the heart of the community, its families. So stay with us as we delve into the details of this exciting new chapter for Lanigan, Saskatchewan, with Mayor Tony Mycock and Lanigan CAO Ron McCullough. Mayor Ron, thank you so much for both sitting down with me and talking about your amazing community of Lanigan, Saskatchewan, and this amazing endeavor that your community is going through to add additional daycare spaces to your community. I want to start with Mayor Mycock for a second. Actually, before I do start, do you mind if I call you gentlemen by your first names, Tony and Ron? Is that okay with you?
fine by me.
That
Awesome.
works.
Awesome, Tony. So I'm going to start with you if you don't mind. Take us through how this daycare partnership between the town of Lanigan and the Lanigan Daycare Cooperative came about.
Well, it started with our council orientation with the new council in November after the election. We met with Dr. George McIntosh, and we set our priorities for the 5 years or 4 years of our council. So it was in our top five of our priorities for our strategic planning process that we wanted to follow. So that was how it all started.
For yourself, Ron, from an administration side, how did the administration react to the news that the council, one of their strategic priorities was to have a new daycare facility in the community?
Very positively, Chris. We work collaboratively with council. Simply put, council set direction, set priorities. That becomes my marching orders to implement, and quite exciting actually. Lots of seed planting in at least the year leading up to it. Tony maybe can speak to that a little bit. This is an ambitious project that's been on the drawing board for a while in Lanigan and just came to fruition with council saying, let's giddy up and go.
So why was it important, Tony, to do this? Because daycare, and I'm gonna kind of speak off the cuff here, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but municipalities are not traditionally in the business of building daycares and helping build businesses to in their communities. So why was this a need, a necessity for Lanigan a few years ago, and why was it so important to start the project in 2025?
Well, we have an existing daycare of 48 spaces with a wait list of 42 spaces already. And with the growth in the area, with BHP coming to our region, plus, economic opportunities within the region, with just within the town, and for our businesses and anybody that's employing people, it's a need. It's a need for our community. And it was a huge endeavor for our daycare board to take on by themselves. So that was the main reason. We had multiple meetings with the daycare board on, what their plans were. And we just felt that without our help, this project was not going to get off the ground. So that was the main reason for getting involved. It's a win-win for our community. We can't hope to grow housing and things like that in our community, or more businesses without daycare. They go hand in hand, and that was, like I said, was the biggest reason for us getting involved with this project.
So, for those who may not know, what is BHP and why is that a major driving force behind the scenes of what's going on in Lanigan? Tony, let's throw it over to you for that one.
Well, BHP is the biggest mining company in the world, and they're in the process of getting the Jansen project up and running. So it's a huge potash mine that's going to employ, I think, up to 900 people when it's up in full production. They have a mandate of they want their employees to live within a 90-kilometer radius of the mine site. So they put a huge ask in the communities within the region, and so that's one of the main drivers. But we also have Nutrien, Lanigan in our back door, which is another big mine, and they've been around for like 65 years. So that's another big draw. Plus, we have agricultural businesses in our area, plus our local businesses. So, and we're hoping to grow commercial business in town as well. And so those are the big drivers behind it.
This is a very big undertaking for, and I say this with respect, but a very small urban community, not like Regina or Saskatoon. You're punching above your weight. $3 million project. You have grants coming in from the provincial government. Ron, what specific responsibilities will the town administration be participating in this adventure? Because this is going to possibly add work for your administration, but also support your administration as it grows and sees the community benefits of this project.
Well, I guess for starters, Chris, and to be clear, the town of Lanigan is not going to be operating the daycare. It's not something we're best at. We're certainly experienced in construction projects, and that's really we use the term partnership. It's not formed as a legal partnership, but it is a collaboration. It's a partnership between the town and the Lanigan Cooperative Daycare. In terms of responsibility, council has made it really clear and has set very clear expectations for implementation. That rests on my shoulders as CAO. Now, there's no I in team. It's not all about me. So then we look at capacity analysis. How do we do this? How do we achieve on time, on budget? How do we implement with everything else we've got on the go and other projects in the works? And the first step in the capacity analysis is resources we need to undertake the project. We've immediately implemented a project coordinator, Barry Morishita, well experienced in many, strategic initiatives, implementation of projects. That's one resource. We're working collaboratively with the Daycare Cooperative Committee and Council. And we will bring on other experts as needed. Barry and I just had lunch today to review a long list, 3 pages worth of document that we'll be setting up as the evaluation criteria for the bids, just as one example. And part of that process identifies some weaknesses. The building permit process, for example, will examine design plans in compliance with National Building Code, but that doesn't necessarily confirm compliance with provincial daycare regulations. So what do? Well, we'll engage an expert to bring onto the committee what the cost and becomes a project cost to retain to help with things like that. So it's about capacity analysis, gap analysis, and then at the end of the day, the buck stops with council and the daycare board, and they lean heavily on, in this case, myself and Barry to make sure it gets done and it gets done right.
While the town of Lanigan will not be operating this, you will be utilizing loan capacity to take out loans to cover the $2 million that needs to be covered, but the daycare committee will be paying that back. Tony, in an article after this motion was passed, you said this would have no impact on property taxes for businesses and residents. How can you be sure of that?
Well, we've set up a long-term lease to own with monthly payments made by the Daycare Cooperative. The town of Lanigan, the cooperative in the town of Lanigan, lease payments will equal the debt financing obligations, resulting in a net zero impact. Whenever you go into something like this, there's always risk. There's never zero risk. We're just trying to minimize that risk, we engaged legal help to get a formal agreement together so everybody's on the same page. Those are the main things we've done to impact the risk to the town of Lanigan. We're not raising taxes because of this, and we're still hoping to get some more corporate sponsorship as well. We're going to work on that as well. We told the daycare board we would take care of working with the bigger entities in this project, and we will continue to do that. So hopefully that number comes down, and we're not borrowing as much as we actually need to. So
I'm going to ask the political question to the political leader in the call right now. Were residents on board with the decision of council to bring a project like this to life? Because you mentioned at the top of the interview that you didn't see a path forward for this daycare to get off the ground if the town had not stepped in. Did you get a sense that the community rallied around council's decision and said, yes, we support the decision to enter into this agreement in principle between the town and the daycare?
I feel it was very positively received by the community. The residents I've spoken to are all in favor for us getting behind this. I have had no negativity come directly to me. Not saying that there probably isn't some negative out there, but the majority of people that I have spoken to are definitely behind this.
And for yourself, Ron, as the leader of the administration side, did administration jump on board with this? Because traditionally in smaller communities, the smaller urban centers, the people who are administration are the people who utilize the facility. So there may be some people who might be utilizing this daycare facility who work for the town of Lanigan. Did you get a sense that they were on board with the potential extra work that they may have to do, whether it be just working through financial documents, loan agreements? Did you get a sense that administration was on board as well?
Well, I can certainly say yes, administration on board, myself primarily. We have 12 permanent full-time staff, so it's not a large workforce. We've rebuilt the staff complement here over the last year. We have 5 or 6 employees in their early 20s. It's really fun, actually, for an old dog like me to be coaching young folks. And so what do I imagine for the future? I guess that's the manufacturing sector, right? Hopefully they pair up. However, they may choose to do that. That's TMI in an interview. Grow a family, have kids. They're going to need daycares. So, yeah, we've got a young workforce within the organization that are very in tune with what needs are in the community and very supportive of what we're doing, Chris.
What role does administration play ensuring that the project stays on budget and on schedule? Because we talk about the three unknowns, the knowns and the unknown unknowns of any project, because you can always plan for a potential situation that can come up. Nothing's ever going to go completely to plan. I don't care who
Yeah.
you are, what municipality you are. How does the town foresee those unexpected occurrences arising and ensuring that it stays on time and on schedule and on budget so you don't have to go back to your property tax base?
Pre-planning is critical. The heavy, the heaviest part of the effort thus far, and I always suggest in any project, is the pre-planning stage. We invested heavily. Some people see it as an expense. I see it as an investment. The legalese, the preparation of the lease agreement between the town and the daycare cooperative, the building of the RFP for design build approach. Are those the things that internally in the town of Lanigan, do we have capacity to do those things? Short answer is no. So we sourced it out as a project cost. MLT have helped us build the lease agreement, nothing short of about 39 pages, which sounds pretty horrific, but it's a substantial agreement. And then the RFP design build experts within their firm help us build it and rely on other sources as well. So number one, as much as we can do up front in the pre-planning stage helps reduce risk in the process. Doesn't eliminate risk, but helps reduce it. The more clarity there is up front, the better. That's number one. Number two, we get into the evaluation process. We hope that there's a good number of bidders, very competitive. We get into a detailed evaluation with a team that includes, member of council, a couple of members of the committee, the daycare committee, myself, Barry, a couple of subject matter experts, and we thoroughly review the proposals and become satisfied that, whichever one we pick is the right choice, do the right thing. And should that, we reach mutual agreement with that bidder, of course, then you go into a negotiation process and try and reduce the number of surprises as much as is possible. Again, managing lower risk. Number three, less is more. Change orders are big business on any construction projects. So the lower the number of change orders we can make, the better. And then again, that's all the pre-planning and clarification up front to try and reduce the risks that I see present right now. Trade war, potential tariffs. What kind of an impact might that have on a project like this? We're not thinking high impact, but there are risks attached to that over the course of the next 12 to 18 months from beginning to end. I don't have any magic silver bullet or one pill single solution for that, Chris. We're very aware that that is a risk. Another one that's more common in prairies, Saskatchewan, we have winter. Sooner we get in the ground this year, right? Yeah, I know. That's a big surprise.
What are you talking about? We have winter. Tony was saying before the interview started that you guys just got slammed with another round of snow. Snow is done. We're in spring now, aren't we?
I wish. We're in March. Oh no, we're in April today in Saskatchewan. So the sooner we get in the ground, the less, the more we lessen our winter construction costs. We're really pushing hard to get in the ground in June to button up for winter months, reducing costs. If we're not at that stage by winter, we can see costs escalate because of winter construction. It's pretty normal. So, again, as and other things can happen outside of our control. We've got a good group put together, a good team. We'll add team members as needed, if needed. So also in managing surprises when they happen to keep things on track. Rapid response.
Yeah.
So I talk about a high performance rapid response team. These little gems, of course, they control our lives, work 24/7. Get an issue come up, be able to deal with it quickly to lessen that impact. and not quickly in a manner to cost more. Deal with it effectively, efficiently, Chris.
Tony, from a council perspective, what are you looking for those potential challenges? Or are you, again, I hate to say it, but there are going to be things that come up last minute. There are going to be challenges that this project has to undertake. Did you have to weigh those challenges hard before making this decision to have an agreement in principle with the daycare committee? Because we don't know this world that we live in right now is very fluid and very changing on a day-to-day basis. From a political standpoint, how did you balance the needs of your community with those challenges when council made that ultimate decision?
Well, I think, as a council, we talked it through multiple times, and we've had experience. We're completing a pool build that we had, and we had challenges with that project. And some of it was probably because we didn't have all our ducks in a row. And I feel like getting the team together that we have right now, with Barry Murashita coming on as our project coordinator, I think we've got maybe crossed some T's and dotted some I's more on this project than we did in the past. We had things come up on the build of the pool that we weren't anticipating, and it did add cost to it. Um, and we were so far in, we had to keep going. So I'm just hoping we can minimize those challenges. But in life we have challenges all the time, and you can't foresee everything. If I could foresee everything, I'd be a lot happier all the time, because, well, in everyday work and in my everyday job, I mean, things come up and you just have to deal with it. But I think we've got the right team in place to minimize those challenges. And like Ron said, if we can react to those things as they come up in the proper way and minimize any challenges without exceeding costs, I think we can do well with it. So yeah.
Now, okay, this is going to be a very inside baseball type of question, and I did not prepare either one of you for this. So, whoever wants to take this question, I highly recommend that you do it. Um, this new facility is going to be a brand new facility. It's not going to be just adding on or retrofitting the current daycare. It's actually going to be replacing the current facility, and you're going to be moving into the daycare is going to be moving into a brand new facility. What was the decision based on of not retrofitting and adding on to the current space that's there, but actually building a brand new facility? Why was it important to have that brand new 90 space daycare facility instead of expanding on that current 48 space daycare facility and adding an extra room or retrofitting it so that way it could be added, more space could be added on? Who can answer that question for me? Ron, Tony?
I'll start. So our existing daycare it was a house, it was a duplex, which was renovated into a daycare. There is no room on that property to expand. We looked at other options, like we're getting a new school built right now, and when they proposed the new school, we really pushed to have a daycare as part of the new school, and the decision was made that that wasn't going to go ahead.
By the
We're
province or
tearing
by
down
by the town?
by the province.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's on the record so that way people
Yeah,
don't say, no, it was Tony and Ron who decided that shouldn't go ahead. Go ahead.
no, the funding wasn't there to add the daycare into the new school. They're going to be tearing down both of our schools right now, and I approached the school board about the the high school. Could we save part of that school and retrofit it to become a daycare? This day and age, you're dealing with asbestos. The reason the schools are being shut down is poor ventilation. The cost of getting rid of the asbestos is phenomenal. So we looked at all those other options. We have no other buildings in town that are suitable for this space. So that is the main decision with with the brand new facility.
And then on just to follow up on that, because there's probably going to be someone screaming at their TV screens or just asking me to follow up on this, but what was the decision based on just 90? Because you talk about the 48 spaces and there's a wait list of, I believe you said 42, 43 people wanting to get into a daycare facility. Why not go 120? Why not go 150? I know there is an answer, and I just want to make sure that's on the record. Ron, do you want to take that, or Tony, do you want to take that?
I can
Yeah,
take that.
sure.
Or
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
the province regulations is you cannot operate more than 90 spaces under one roof. So that is the reason why the 90 spaces came up. And right now, our daycare board has only been allocated 42 new spaces, which takes us to a total of 90. So the government funding for the spaces is allocated at 42 new spaces right now. Ron, go
Ron, do
ahead.
you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, just one more springboard off of that. It's also that in Saskatchewan, any one entity is limited to 90. So the Lanigan Cooperative Daycare, the maximum is one entity that they can have is 90. Yeah, we could probably use 180 within the next 3 to 5 years. I guess we'll look for another entity and build another one.
Well, and that would be the initial follow-up is what happens to the old daycare facility? Is it going to get demolished? Is it going to get sold? Because when you're looking for money, I know there's all options are always on the table. So, Ron, what happens to the current daycare facility once this the new one is up and running and the transition from that old daycare to the new daycare happens? Does the town take over the ownership of that property? Is the daycare responsible for it? What's the steps for that new old property?
Yeah, the business plan developed for this counts on that property being sold. For the purpose of using it as a daycare, that's probably not the highest and best use. The building is tired for that purpose. Could be renovated back into, I think actually originally it may have been a duplex. There's a high need for rentals, so it could command a decent sale price. Plan is, some of those net cash proceeds go into this project at that time. And then as for the future, yeah, if there's opportunity there probably will be to build another one. We look at how we orchestrate that at that time, one step at a time.
Is Lanigan doing this? Is this a unique thing for Lanigan? Are you looking at other municipalities who may have entered into this type of partnership? Or is this something that is very special and you're kind of writing the playbook of how to work a partnership with a daycare committee to set this up, Ron?
Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and then I'm imagining other provinces across Canada, but I'll stick to the ones I've practiced in. All of us, all municipalities within the prairie provinces have what are known as broad sphere of jurisdiction and natural person powers. So that creates a lot of latitude to do things that get away from the old school of prescriptive thou shalt not, etc. Pretty open door for us to do business. We haven't investigated any other communities that have done this. I think of, and maybe this is not a great example because the industry shut down and it really hurt the community, but I think of Dryden, Ontario, as a community that, or it originated as a one industry community. City of Dryden, or what likely started out as the town of Dryden, because it was a one industry community. They had really no choice but to get involved into owning and operating affordable housing, owning and operating daycare, owning and operating many things that, a utility system, electrical distribution system, common out in Alberta, actually. Get into the business of things that a municipality might not normally do. I'm a strong advocate of, leave those things to private sector and or not for profit rather than the municipality getting involved. If nobody else is doing it, then for the sake of bettering our community, let's not be afraid to look at it. And council, I guess, and I'd rather Tony speak to this. I've been here a little over a year. Council are satisfied to support that thinking. It's abundantly clear to me that the entire group of council, each individually and all of them as a body, want to see this community grow, are now experiencing some growth opportunities. They want to make sure it's done right, and they don't want to wreck what we already have. So, given those parameters, those are my marching orders, Chris.
So just to follow up on that, Mayor, does this open the floodgates? Does this open the floodgates for other organizations to say, well, Lanigan did it with the daycare, so they can do it with my daycare committee that I want to set up and open up a 48 space daycare facility? Because the moment the government gets into that sort of nonprofit business sector, it's hard to stop the people from coming and asking for more help. Did you weigh the pros and cons when agreeing to this agreement in principle to say, are we going to potentially see another organization who wants us to do the exact same agreement with the daycare, or you just want to see your community grow and you're comfortable with anyone who has a good idea to see it grow coming to council and working together to do it?
I think as a council, we're open to discussions on multiple entities. I guess I didn't really think about, another group coming and starting another daycare. I mean, the focus right now was to focus on the now and get this daycare up and running because it's much needed. We're finding a lot of more community groups are coming to the town for help. Um, in my lifetime here in Lanigan, the volunteerism has changed a lot, and getting people to step up and do things is harder and harder. And when you look at fundraising for $2 million for a project, it's a pretty formidable task, and that was again why the main reason we got involved. I mean, we built the new pool, and the water park committee did a phenomenal job and raised over $1 million, but it took over 10 years to do that. And I think people are maybe getting a little tired of the fundraising thing, but I think we're open to looking at other things that we really want to improve Lanigan. We think we have a great community now. We just want to make it better. We have a lot of things going for us here. We've got great recreational facilities. We've got an arena that is 20 years old, but it's still in good shape. We've got a great town hall. We've got a curling rink and a golf course. We've got ball diamonds, and yeah, we want to do some more work with our sports grounds. We've got lots of ideas there. We've got a brand new pool that we're adding the last piece to that pool this spring with the water slide getting commissioned. So that project is done. We've got a new school, which I believe the school board is taking possession of this week, and the students will be moving into the new school before the end of the school year. So there's lots of positives here, and I think we're definitely open for business and want to do more things. So
I will echo the mayor's sentiment there because as many might know if they follow me on social media, that I was just up in Lanigan, and your staff at the gas bar were the friendliest staff members that I met on my travels through Saskatchewan. So highly recommend if you're in Saskatchewan, you stop in, because the gentleman who helped me and pumped my gas for me, because it was full serve, not self serve, he offered the best locations for some coffees while I was in the community. So there's my little plug for Lanigan. Um, Before we move on to Ron, um, where is the facility going to be built? Because when you are a growing community, when you build a facility like this takes up prime location, which could be used for housing. And with the mine that is coming through Saskatchewan in the area, I can imagine are going to see a boom in housing and people building housing as well. So where in the community is this going to be? Is it going to be near the pool? Is it going to be off on the highway? What's the location?
The location of the new facility is we're recycling, Chris. We believe in recycling. So the old swimming is going to be demolished, and we're moving to construct this new daycare on that site. That site is near the existing schools, which will be very near the new school. Part of the we're in discussions with Verizon School Division on some joint use of their parking facilities nearby. So we're recycling an existing site that, again, I think the highest and best use for that location is exactly what we're proposing. One community facility to another one.
And did the town sell the land of the old pool to the daycare committee? I just want to make sure I get that on the record. Or are they leasing it to the land for? Because I've worked in some municipality where they lease land to nonprofits or daycare or companies for like $1 a year for at least 100 years. What's the agreement in principle for that land for the daycare, Ron?
The legal agreement on this and strategy, this was a lease to own
Yeah.
engagement. So the town currently has title ownership of that property. Council made a commitment to um, use that land for the daycare one way or another. And the lease to own agreement we're entering into, the town as the registered owner. The daycare can become the registered owner once the debt is repaid. So, in essence, the town is acting as banker, quite frankly.
Mayor, what's the economic spin-off from this daycare being set up? What do you see as the benefit? Because when you look at a strategic plan, the strategic plan is what you want your community to be like in 5, 10, 15 years. You go through the SWOT analysis. What's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for your community? What is the economic benefit to the people of Lanigan for the town to undertake this type of partnership between the town and the daycare that you're hoping to see in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
Well, I think one aspect of that is increasing our tax base. Getting more homes built in town, more properties. I think the economic spinoff as well will be attracting more business to our community, helping our existing businesses thrive. Bringing more people in will create more business for them as well. I think there's opportunities to increase our recreational facilities, as we increase our tax base and offer more things to residents. I know for a fact we've got a lot of younger people that have decided to stay in Lanigan, and they're in that, they're single right now or getting engaged, and the next thing's going to be, have families and things like that. And we want to keep those people here rather than them going off to the city or wherever else, and we want to see Lanigan grow, but we don't want to be a transient community. I understand we're going to have some people that are going to probably rent places here while they work at BHP or Nutrien or, the bigger entities. We also have a power station being built just west of town, and that's creating a huge draw on our rental properties right now because the construction phase is 3 years, and the workers there need somewhere to stay. They don't have a camp on site or anything like that. So, it's the SaskPower Aspen Power Station. They're building a natural gas power station.
So I'm going to just ask a very, very weird follow-up question. Is Lanigan prepared for that growth? Because it seems like there's a lot going on right now in the Lanigan area, whether it be BHP, whether it be Nutrigrain, whether it be the expansion of the power plant. Like this seems like a small drop in the bucket compared to the grand scale of what's going on. Are you prepared to see this growth and see Lanigan of what it could be in 2030, 2045? Tony?
Answer is yes. Very well positioned. Well prepared. We've put a lot of investment in the last 12 months into what's known as development readiness. We're in good shape in terms of available service lots for conventional Single-family dwellings, nearly 100 lots, subdivided, unserviced, ready to fly for servicing. Of course, you don't want to build a field of dreams. We've parceled land, with a higher level of zoning density for multiple family. We're well positioned with a subdivided area for future commercial development. And yeah, things are starting to happen. So the BHP alone, I mean, they're putting $15 billion in the ground for a new mine, estimating permanent workforce 900. Tony's already touched on that. The Sask Power gas-fired generating station estimated 1.5 billion, 700 construction workers on site at its peak. Small number permanent employees, 24, 25 maybe. Strong industrial base within the region, strong farming economy. So lots going for it for us and the region. We've just completed through Mid-Sask Municipal Alliance, MSMA, the housing needs assessment within the micro region, coming up with a need of a minimum of 100 new dwelling units per year over the next 10 years. Now, are all of those going to be in Lanigan? No. We simply want a piece of the action, and what's a reasonable bar to set on that? If we can, pull in the 20% range, within the region, including Humboldt and many other small communities in the area, I think, cool. We're sitting at 1,500-ish population today. If we can achieve 22 to 2,300 range over the next decade, that's very manageable, Chris. It's not pie in the sky. It's within our reach. It's within our affordability band.
What's the timeline here now? So this new daycare, the motion from council just got passed earlier this year in 2025. What is the time frame for that transition from the old daycare to the new daycare? And when do you hope to have the grand shovel in the ground photo out on the news release? Because the first step is always the hardest, and the first step is that motion. And now it seems that the work has to start. Is it just waiting until you come up with that extra $2 million? Is there a timeline that council has put into place that they say we have to have this project done by 2026? What's the timeline for this project from an administration side? Then I'm going to go to a political side. So, Ron, from an administration side, when do you hope to have shovels in the ground to start the construction of this process?
Yeah, again, short answer is yes. The
So,
Todd
yes,
Turner,
that is what is we're going to go with. That's the perfect timeline, Ron.
that's yeah, the sod turning is June of 2025 is the target. This is a very ambitious plan. Wheels are in motion, many moving parts. RFP is on SAS tenders right now, closes April 16. We target bid evaluations completed by the end of April, successful bidder selection by end of April, leaving May open for negotiation, contract engagement, stipulated price contract for design build in the ground June of 25, occupiable June of 26. That's the target.
Is that a reasonable target from a political standpoint, Mayor?
I will say
I've got to ask the
yes.
political question here. Come on. I've got to ask the political question because you did just get reelected. You went through municipal elections. There's a new provincial election. The provincial election just happened like 3 weeks or a month after yours or before the municipal elections. So you have 4 years. And are you comfortable that you can get this all done by that 2026 target?
I feel it's an aggressive timeline, but I think it's doable. We purposely put an aggressive timeline on it because I don't think it's something we can wait on. We need to see some action here, and I definitely think it's doable. So if all our ducks, if everything aligns like we think it's going to, I think it's a doable project.
Um, just final question to you, Tony, before I start my wrap up. But how important when you were making the decision to go forward with this partnership and agreement was it to know the people of the Lanigan Daycare Cooperative, to understand what they want? Because I'm assuming you would not have taken this risk, the town of Lanigan would not have taken this risk if it was a outside organization coming in. But these are an established organization. The daycare has been there for some time. How important was it for the town to understand that they are ingrained in your community, so you know them and they know you? So when this project is going on, you're going to be able to talk to the daycare people and understand what their wants and needs are, while they understand what the town's wants and needs are.
Well, it was a very easy decision on that regard. I mean, the daycare's been in Lanigan for years.
Yeah.
The board has changed over the years because, as you know, like the board is formed by the parents that are using the daycare, and some of those people have moved on. Um, but there's a very good group on that board, and that's one thing about Lanigan. We're small enough that we know most people in town, and we know the people that get involved in the community. And a lot of the people on that board are the people that are involved in our community. I mean, we've been growing, and with all the construction in our area right now, I admit there's a lot of people in town. I don't know who they are anymore. But I pride myself on being accessible as mayor and seen around town. And I'm definitely open for anybody to come up and ask me questions about what's going on. And I know there's a good group on that board, and from different backgrounds and things like that. And I feel confident that working with that board is going to be a very good relationship moving forward.
Ron, final question to you. What's the one thing you want people to take away from this interview that we haven't talked about yet, from an administration side of this project, about growing your community in the way that Lanigan has envisioned growing its community by this partnership? What's that one piece of advice or hope that people take away from this interview that we haven't talked about yet from an administration side?
Yeah, don't be afraid to exercise the broad sphere of jurisdiction, natural person powers, and take calculated risk. I spent a decade in Alberta and went there from Manitoba, and it was a real eye opener for me. I loved it. It's a can-do approach, entrepreneurial spirit in the administrative field. If you're not entrepreneurial, you might last 10, 15 minutes. So it's on the administrative side, yeah, don't be afraid to get out there and work hard to do things for the community that might be, I don't know, I'm tired of this term, think outside the box, but get into a space that may be uncomfortable and make it comfortable.
Mayor, for yourself, what's the one thing you want people to take away from this interview that we haven't talked about yet, from a political side, from a council side? Because this could be your legacy. This could be the thing that people remember Tony Mycock and the great town of Lanigan for. What do you hope people take away from this project, and how it will impact Lanigan that we haven't talked about?
Well, from a council point of view, we get I got on council because I wanted to make a difference in the community. And as a counselor, you have to take everybody's opinions and everybody's needs into account. Everybody has different things they want to see in the community, but we have to look at it as a whole. And sometimes we make decisions that aren't um, you know, perceived by everybody as what's good for the community. But that's how we run as council. We talk about things and we want to do what's best for Lanigan. And I definitely think this is something that's best for Lanigan. And I hope to do more in the next 4 years as well. I want to see some other projects that we've got in the works, like Ron talked about being development ready. We've spent a lot of time on that, and we've situated ourselves in a good place. And I want to see some action in town. I want to see some shovels in the ground. I want to see some new houses going up. I want to see some apartments going up. It's exciting for me now as being on council. There's a lot of excitement, and been a lot of pessimism because nothing happens fast. And I think this year, 2025, I think we're definitely going to see some of the things we've been talking about come to fruition, and people are going to see that. And I hope it creates some excitement in the community.
I hope it does too. Mayor Mycock, CAO McCullough, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about the growing community of Lanigan. It's always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to getting back there later on this summer. I'm taking an RV across Saskatchewan, so I'll make sure that I do a pit stop in Lanigan to see your beautiful community when there's not as much snow as on the ground as there was the last time I was there. But I do appreciate you taking your time and sitting down with us and talking about this agreement and principle between the town and the daycare. Greatly appreciate it, gents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Municipal Affairs. Now, we hope you've enjoyed today's conversation, gained some valuable insights into the world of Lanigan, Saskatchewan. To stay in the loop with all of our latest episodes, don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, and follow us on social media. For even more content and learn more about the stories and people we feature on this show and our sister shows, visit us online at crossborderinterviews.ca. Now, your support means the world to us. So share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs later this week.